right, I think we are just about at 30 minutes past 2. So yeah, welcome everybody. My name is Brett Lonsdale from LightningTools. I'm one of the founders of LightningTools, and we celebrated around about a month ago our 15th birthday. So for the past 15 years we've been providing different products for primarily Microsoft SharePoint. So this started around about the time of SharePoint 2007 and evolved through each version of Microsoft SharePoint on premises, and of course evolved into SharePoint Online and now Microsoft Teams as well. So we are a Microsoft SharePoint and Microsoft Teams ISV. We're based not too far away. We're in the Northamptonshire countryside, and I've got my colleague on screen here because he was maybe going to be standing in for me, so there he is. Yeah, Julio has come all the way over from the US, but here he is at our headquarters in Northamptonshire, a quaint little barn on a farm somewhere in the middle of nowhere. And yeah, we're a Microsoft Gold partner, and we also have an office based in Orlando, Florida as well. So a little bit different to what you see here on the screen. That's in sort of downtown Orlando, but yeah, far from the countryside shot that you've got there. So what we do, we provide different products, mostly under the SharePoint framework nowadays, for Microsoft SharePoint Online and also Microsoft Teams as well. So some of the changes that the Microsoft Teams team did a few years ago now was actually make the SharePoint framework compatible with Microsoft Teams, so you could push out the same product that you have as a SharePoint web part into the Microsoft Teams environment, so people can have the same experience inside a Teams tab as well. So we were one of the first companies to do that. We're actually on stage with the Teams team presenting this at one of the build conferences, and we managed to extend our products further so that we didn't just take the SharePoint product and put it in Teams, we actually teamified them as well, which you're about to see today. So we're going to be focusing in on one of the products, the one that's in bold right at the very top, which is our discussion board tool. Anybody that's used to sort of Stack Overflow or anything like that on the internet, or maybe just search the internet with an issue, so maybe the cake didn't turn out quite right and you Googled why that was, and sure enough somebody tried the same recipe, and there it is on the forum. Somebody replied and said, yeah, you need to try extra eggs or whatever it is. Or maybe you've had a fault with your vehicle or something, and you've Googled it, and again, you've ended up in a forum somewhere. And that's the sort of thing that discussion boards can bring, not just to the public internet, but also to your business as well. So departments inside your business, and also the organization as a whole, perhaps. So that's what we're going to dive into and have a look at. We've also got a series of other products that all work with Microsoft Teams. So this includes permissions management. So again, it's a tool that can work with SharePoint. It can also work with Teams because the same problems exist there. We have the ability to report on who's got access, what external sharing links do we have, and we can move and copy permissions and that type of thing. We also have a content aggregation tool, so we can aggregate SharePoint lists and libraries. We can bring them into Teams, into the Teams tab, and build views of that aggregated content using conditional formatting and adaptive cards or whatever we want to do in order to make that content really stand out. And then we've also got some data integration tools as well, namely the data viewer, so we can bring in external data sources into Teams and SharePoint. We have a SharePoint list form design tool, and also an action button builder for your SharePoint lists. And of course, through the SharePoint Teams tab, you can access those lists and take advantage of those customized forms inside of the Teams environment. So that's effectively what we do as a business. We've got customers worldwide. Over the 15 years, we have about 70% of our customers are US-based, and the rest around sort of Northern Europe and also Southeast Asia and so on. So we're going to be focusing, like I said, on Social Squared, which is the discussion board tool. So some of the things that we hear from our customers, first of all, just let me back up for a moment. Again, this is a product that was from Microsoft SharePoint. And our initial naivety said to us, Social Squared doesn't really belong in Microsoft Teams because there's already the ability to have chats inside of Teams. It's already that type of tool. You've got the Posts tab as well, so people can have conversations in there. I don't think Social Squared is going to actually be successful inside of Teams. Then the pandemic happened, and we were wrong. So this became our most popular tool for Microsoft Teams. And the reason why is the Posts tab, it's fantastic for that instant communication, but it's not great for building a knowledge base on questions that people are asking all the time inside your organization, because you can't find them easily. You're not going to scroll back up the Posts tab or use the search in order to be able to find the answer to a question. Whereas if you've got a discussion board that's structured in a similar way to Stack Overflow, you've got your topics, your questions, all categorized into different forum groups and different forums, so people can navigate them easily and find the answer to what they're looking for. And it doesn't have to be that day, like the Posts tab. This could be somebody joining the organization in 6 months' time or a year's time, has the same question that somebody did a year ago, and they're able to find the answer to their question quickly. So very suitable to that sort of environment where there's a lot of people working from home. So it's a self-serving knowledge base, basically, that's built up by the fact that people are asking these questions and gaining answers inside the Teams environment. So if you imagine your sort of Stack Overflow type view, that's exactly what we've got here with Social Squared inside of Microsoft Teams. So we have forum groups. So there's a Mercedes example, of course. So we've got some forum groups around family cars and executive cars or luxury cars. So we're separating that content based on the type of vehicle that we might have a question about. So if you imagine we just had a Mercedes team and the Posts tab is, in general, discussions around Mercedes, we're less likely to find the answer to that question if we just keep scrolling up to maybe find a question on the S-Class or what have you. Whereas if we've got this view, we know exactly where we need to go. We need to go to the luxury car section, and under the S-Class is where we can go through and find the answer to our question, or even ask a question if we can't find the answer in there. The other thing is we bring ownership to those to the forums as well. So it's easy to ignore people if they do ask a question inside the Posts tab or in Yammer and so on. What we can do here is actually set moderators or subject matter experts on those forums so that they can actually administrate, own, and govern that forum. So if somebody does ask a question and it's gone unanswered for a while, well, now it's down to the responsibility of that moderator to make sure that that question is answered. So they can either go in and answer it themselves, or they can encourage other team members to go and answer it as well. So let's have a look at building this. I'm just going to jump into Microsoft Teams here. Just bear with me 1 second. Let's just bring that up. Okay, so here we are inside of Microsoft Teams with that exact example, but I do just want to show you as well that this is the same product that can also be used inside of SharePoint at exactly the same time. So this is just one example of Social Squared running inside a SharePoint site. So we've got different forum groups inside of there, and that same forum could be placed inside of Teams as a Teams tab, so that you've got some people that may be asking questions in SharePoint and other people that might be answering them inside of Teams. It doesn't matter, it can go across the two boundaries. And the reason why it can do that is because the content of Social Squared is actually stored inside of SharePoint lists, which also brings added advantages for things like permissions and so on that you have around that content. It's not something that's processed or stored as a SaaS service outside of your environment. It's actually there inside your SharePoint site to be searched and to be managed accordingly. So what we have here is the Mercedes example, but what I'm also going to do is show you one with some content in it first. And this is actually around a technical support example. So I'm just going to jump into the Social Squared Forums tab, and then we'll have a look at how we actually go about creating some of these different forum groups and forums as well. And so that you can see the screen more effectively, I'm just going to go through and expand that tab. There we go. Okay, so in here we've got some different Microsoft 365 technologies, or the sorts of things that we might be supporting as an organization through technology. So we've got some programming languages, forum groups, we've got Microsoft Planner as a forum group. That type of thing where people can go through and post questions if they've got a technical question. And like I say, over time we'll build up those questions and answers so that people can find that content. So of course we're at a Teams event, so let's go into the Teams channel. And in here we can see some of the different questions that have been asked. You'll see that I've been asking a lot of these questions, but there's also some replies that have come from anonymous users, which is one of the features of Social Squared. We can have anonymous people post or reply, and that gets away from that sort of shyness factor of, I don't want to ask a question in here because people might judge me. So you can anonymously post if you want to, and still get replies to your questions. So if we were to go and add a simple topic, first of all, so I'm going to go through and ask a question. Has anyone got a Teams question?
How do you add a channel?
How do you add a channel? Fantastic. So how? Now, I've started off with how. So you can see it's come up with some suggestions as well. How do you create a Teams channel has already been posted. Because this sort of thing happens all the time. You always end up with duplicate posts. People asking the same questions time and time again. How do I reset my password as a prime example for that? So just starting off with the word how inside that forum is like, this has already been asked by somebody. So if that was the case, before I even get any further, I can jump to that post and find the answer to how to create a Teams channel. So that's one example. Some glasses here. Pre-pandemic, we used to be able to present without glasses, but there we go. So let's put, how do you create a private Teams channel? How's that one? So that could be my question, and I'll just say I need this for my managers in my team. And blah, blah, blah. We could, of course, go through and ask our question in there. Now we can, as you see, through the rich text toolbar, we can do all of the normal things. We can copy, paste images into here. You'll see me do an example of that in a moment. I've also got different headers that I can use and highlighter pens. If we're discussing technical content like programming, for example, we can even put code in there, and it's not going to try and render that HTML or anything like that. It'll actually show the code with all the formatting and everything that we'd expect. And you've got also hyperlinks and insert videos and so on, as you would imagine. So here is our post anonymously if we wanted to do that. We've also got the ability to alert or sign up for alerts when somebody replies to me, which of course if I'm asking a question, I want to be notified as soon as somebody has answered. So that's the sort of thing that I can do there. So even if somebody does reply, I get either a Teams notification or an email. I can do either or both. We also have some tags. So there's already a suggested tag, which is similar to a hashtag. It just allows us to be able to easily find content. If we're not sure what forum or what forum group such a question might be in, we could use the tags to navigate to that content as well. So it's got the word forum in there as a suggested tag, because I've obviously used the tag forum before when I've been talking about teams and channels and things like that. So it suggests that this might be a good tag for me. So I could just simply select that one, but also I could go through and create my own as well. So I might have managers as a tag, and I might have private channel, which is already one. So if it is already one, I can just simply reuse it as well. Okay, so now if we hit add, we get our new topic created, and here it is. It's the second one in the view. The reason why it's not the first one in the view, you'll notice this one has a little drawing pin, so that's been pinned to the top, or in forum speak, it's been made sticky. So that's a great one for the cake forum that I mentioned. But if I go in here, you can see there's my question, and I'm going to be lonely and reply to myself. So here, if I just hit reply, of course I can put my reply here, and we can go through and post that. And we've also got the ability not just to do a reply, but I can also reply with a quote as well. So it just makes it a little bit more obvious who I'm replying to. So in here we'll just have reply with a quote. Okay, and we could add more tags if we wanted to as well to that forum. So that's the sort of default view. What we've also got is a threaded view. So this, you'll see a slight indentation for each reply as well, so it becomes a little bit more obvious, again, who people are replying to. And supposing this is the answer, this is explaining how we go about creating a private channel. What I could do as a moderator, or also the person who created the topic, is go through and mark that as answered. So that's really informative to other people, like say in 6 months' time, might have that same question, how do I create a private channel? They find this thread and they see here that the moderator or the topic creator marked that one as answered, and they know to trust that answer, or at least give that one a shot first. And if you come into the forum, you can see that it's marked as answered, and there's maybe hundreds of replies. What you can do is just click show answer, and that's going to take you straight to the answer. So you're not having to page through all the noise in order to get to that one that is marked as answered. You can just get straight there. Now, there's also the subscription ability as well. So you saw that I was already subscribed to this post because I created it and that checkbox was selected, but it might be that this was somebody else's question, and I've come in here as a reader and I can see that, yeah, this question has not been answered yet, so I could also subscribe myself to that one because I also want to know the answer when somebody does eventually reply. So I can subscribe at that level. If you are the team owner or the moderator, you can also subscribe other people as well. And that can be on an individual basis, or it can be entire forum groups. It can be Microsoft 365 groups as well if you want to. And there's some other features along here that I have because, again, I'm a team owner or a moderator. If I came into this one, let's just jump back and go into it. If somebody asked this question, maybe under the Sharepoint forum group in error, what I could do is, as a moderator, say, that's unlikely to get answered here because it's a Teams question inside the Sharepoint forum. So I can click move and then select one of the other forums to move it to. And therefore it's going to be more likely answered just there. Okay, we can also make sticky, as you saw, so that's the sticky option. Sometimes also the question's already been answered. People are still answering it, and I don't need that anymore. So what I can do is also just lock it. So once I hit lock, it becomes read-only. You can no longer reply to this. It's just going to be there serving as a knowledge base for people in the future. And there's also some rating options over on the right as well. So I'm just going to unlock again, and you'll see that we can rate this post. We can also vote, and we can also like it as well, and there's some different emojis. And if anybody wants to ask the question, can you switch that off? Yes, you can. So you don't have to have those emoji icons if you don't want to. All right, so that's the type of thing that we have as Social Squared. Now what I wanted to show you as well is just some other views, because you're not always going to want to see the content separated out like this, especially if you're maybe a subject matter expert. You are able to answer questions in multiple forums. What you could do is just come down to something like the unanswered topics view. So if I'm inside the unanswered topics view, we get a flat view. It's no longer in that forum group and forum hierarchy. I can just see everything that's unanswered and work my way through them and reply to these people that are asking questions. And if there was somebody that I see posting quite a bit as well, we've got demo user 9 here. One of the things we could also do is do a search on that user. So searching for demo user 9, as I select that user and hit view, we can see everything that that user has posted, read all of those topics, and what I might decide to do is select that user's profile, and I can follow or unfollow or even private message that person as well. And if I'm following that person, then I'm going to also be notified when that person posts, even if they post inside a forum that I'm not subscribed to. So it's a great way to receive notifications. There's also things like the tag view, or the tag cloud. So these are all the tags that we've used across the different posts. So that's another way of navigating to the content. We can see Microsoft Teams is getting as popular as SharePoint. So as we click onto Microsoft Teams, these are all the questions about Microsoft Teams, and they could be in different forums. They've just been tagged with Microsoft Teams as a tag, and now I can go and find that content as well. And of course, one of the other things you might do is actually just search for something too. So if I do a search for SharePoint permissions, as an example, you can see here we've got some results back. It's looking currently at SharePoint or permissions. What we can do is put the plus operator in there, and now we start getting SharePoint permissions as part of a sentence. Okay. And we can refine those based on date, time. We've also got the ability to search the title, the content, the tags, etc. So it's searching everything about that post inside of there. Now the other thing we can do, I'm just going to go through and collapse that again. You'll notice that inside the tech support team, I've also got some other channels inside that team, and here is the Microsoft Planner team. And if we go in there, we've also got Social Squared added to that channel, but that channel still has the same underlying SharePoint site, the same list, so we're going to see the same content inside that channel as well. But what you can see is only showing the Planner forum group. So what I can do is make it more contextual by going into the settings for that tab, and we can choose which forum groups we want to show when we're inside this channel. So under the general channel, you could have everything displayed. We can navigate all the different forum groups and forums, but we can make them more specific as we drive down into those channels. So if I wanted to show Planner as well as SharePoint, notice that once I select that, or not, select it, that would add that to that view as well. And there's also lots of other settings in here. So all of those features that you saw, things like the tagging, the likes, the tagging type as well, we can change. So here we can turn off the likes if we don't want those. We can turn off the emojis. The tags can go from being a freestyle tag to being enforced by using the term store as well through managed metadata. So if you wanted to define all of those tags yourself and therefore have that ability to manage them, then you could also do that, which makes it more governed. And there's other things as well, such as attachments that you can allow. You can specify what types of attachments you're going to allow, and also an upload size as well. And there's badges. You'll notice that as I navigated around Social Squared, that we have badges against each person that is posting or replying to posts, and that's based on how active you are inside of each of those forums as well. So you can see I'm logged in here as the LightningTools account, and I've got 4 badges there. So it's based on a point system. When you post or you reply to somebody or you mark something as answered, you're gaining points, and then you can start to build, well, how many points are required for your first badge and then your second badge and so on. And you can change those badges out for any symbol you like as well. So you've got that option. All right, so that's a sort of quick tour around Social Squared, and I'm just going to jump into the Mercedes forum example and show you how we can go through and configure this as well. So obviously we've already got it configured for some different forum groups and forums, but browsing around here, I saw that there was also some Formula 1 cars and some Formula E cars as well. So what I'm going to do is just go into the I'm going to go into the forum settings, and inside the forum settings we're going to add a motor racing forum group, because there's bound to be questions there, so we'll add that, and then we'll click onto View Forums, and we'll add a forum for Formula 1. We'll give it a description of Formula 1 discussions or questions, and you'll notice that in here we can add our moderators as well. So if we've got a Formula 1 expert, we can name that person, and they have effectively admin rights, but only in that forum. So they can go through and delete people's topics and edit people's topics. They can manage the tags, etc. And we can also have those questions go through a moderation process or approval process before they even display, or we can also just allow them to post freely, but still have that ability to pull down their post if we want to. So if they posted something inappropriate or something, we could remove it. Right, so there's our first forum for Formula 1, and we'll have Formula E. Give that a description, and we don't have to have a moderator. so I'm not going to add one to that. So yeah, you'll notice right down here at the bottom is our new motor racing forum group, and it's ready to go. People can start asking questions in there. And so what I'm going to do, since we're in the S-Class room, we'll add our first topic inside of here. So what is the car in the back of the room? Okay, so we'll add that one. And again, I'm not going to waste time by signing in as somebody else and so on. Let's just reply to that. I didn't really take note. But what we do have is the ability to grab some pictures and so on. I hope. There we go. There's a picture of the steering wheel. Anyway, let's grab that. So I'm just going to copy that image and paste that in here. So you can see we don't have to go through a lengthy process of uploading images to an image library or anything like that and linking it in. We have got that ability to just copy paste and so on. And we can tag it as well. And resize it. We can wrap our text around it and so on. So yeah, we can get there with hopefully a nice looking post by the time we're finished, and go through and hit reply. Okay, so that is a overview of Social Squared. It is also available, of course, we did have our own iOS and Android app, but to be honest, it just works best in the Teams app. So if you go into the Teams app, and of course you click onto the tab where Social Squared is, it is a responsive design, so it's going to shrink down to fit your phone. There's also some added features for being on the mobile app as well. So you can, in the same way I just copied and pasted an image, you can grab images off your phone, so you can browse those, and you also get the phone notifications too. So if somebody does reply to a forum that you're subscribed to, you're going to get the alert on your phone, which is fantastic. Great way to sort of drive that adoption. So, there is a 30-day trial. If anybody is interested, you can help yourself by going to the Lightning Tools. It's probably just easier to remember. Go to lightningtools.com and you'll find your way to Social Squared. And yeah, from there you can set up a demo. You can also download the 30-day trial as well if you want to give it a shot. So, we can have some questions. And I've also got the first person to shout this answer out might win a prize. Well done. There you go. You're very welcome. Enjoy it. So, does anybody have any questions for me?
Can you read from the Social Squared heading?
Yes, you can. Absolutely. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be Social Squared. By jumping into the settings, you can call it whatever you like. So in here where we've got Social Squared, if I go into the settings in here, this is where we can change that. So that becomes Mercedes Forum, or maybe just Mercedes. I'm zoomed in, so I'm just going to do that because it's again responsive. So it's going to trim it down. So yeah, you've got, and then also the tab name as well. It is the Social Squared app, but you could rename your tab to Mercedes Forum or whatever you wanted to name it. And yeah, since you mentioned also, I mean, branding, not quite branding, but some of the questions that people ask is about the look and feel. So we have changed Social Squared to always sort of fit in with whatever environment it's in. So if you do go to the dark mode, it's going to adopt that dark mode. If you're inside a Sharepoint and you've got a custom theme or you're using one of the built-in themes, it picks up those accents as well. So if you've got that blue theme, it's going to have the blue forum groups and blue text, etc. and so on. So, all right.
Absolutely not a plan at all. But how do I know when I'm going to get, like, if there are errors in it, when it's going to update, or how often do these things get updates sent?
Okay, question from my team. so yeah.
Knows the answer.
Okay, so Yeah, the updates, and Jenny will know this as well. So we are kind of regimented with our updates. So every single product goes through a cycle, and it is every 4 months there's updates to our products. So people are notified of those changes. Our roadmap is open and honest up on our website, so you can view that. And yeah, we do let people know as soon as there are changes. As far as actually updating, so that package that comes out every 4 months is something you download and manually install. That way you've got your choice as to when you're going to do it. But there's also bug fixes and so on that we may come across. We call them lightning bugs internally, and those can just be updated through the CDN and pushed out that way. Okay. All right. Go for it, Christian. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for coming. And if you've got any other questions, feel free to come up front too.